For now, let these folks get out and get to safety. Again, when we're talking about a tremendous amount of possible storm surge here in the coastal areas, it's very important these folks get away from the water, Jim.
Hurricane Ike, responsible for 117 deaths and $29.6 billion in damage in the United States, was the fifth hurricane of the 2008 Atlantic hurricane season. A Cape Verde-type hurricane, it began brewing as a tropical disturbance off the coast of Africa towards the end of August, then moved south of Cape Verde and slowly developed. On September 1, 2008, it became a tropical storm west of the Cape Verde Islands. By September 4th, Ike was categorized as a Category 4 hurricane, reaching 145 miles per hour winds. Ike made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane in Cuba on September 7th, emerging south of Cuba by September 8th. Entering the Gulf of Mexico September 9th, Ike exhibited a rapid drop in central pressure while it passed over the Gulf's loop current. Wind speed remained at 100 miles per hour, and it maintained a steady course towards Galveston. Although it exhibited Category 2 wind speeds, it was an estimated Category 4 storm due to its unusually large wind field. Ike made United States landfall at Galveston, Texas on September 13th at 2 a.m. as a high Category 2 with wind speeds of 110 miles per hour. It traveled through Galveston, on to Houston, and up through central Texas, where it continued to lose momentum from there. My family and I chose not to evacuate for Hurricane Ike due to the fact that our home and neighborhood withstood 2005's Hurricane Katrina. This was a fairly risky decision, especially since many Houstonians were evacuating, as Ike was expected to do more damage to Houston than did Katrina. Our school let us off a couple days before Ike was expected to hit, in order to prepare or evacuate the Houston area. Many of my friends and their families went to cities such as Dallas, and they claimed it took roughly 10 to 12 hours, a trip that would typically take 4 hours. The highways were jammed, as Houston is a city of 4 million people, and a majority were trying to all get out at once. Walmart and other grocery stores in my area quickly ran out of supplies such as Gatorade, water bottles, snack foods, flashlights, batteries, and ice. People overstocked on gasoline as well. My family boarded up our windows with wooden boards. Ike hit my area of Houston in the middle of the night, and we immediately lost power due to winds and rainfall. When I woke up the next morning, many of the trees had fallen down in my neighborhood, and the outside of my neighborhood had flooded. My house, as it was highly elevated, was luckily not damaged during the storm. A couple days later, when the water had cleared the outside of my neighborhood, my mom and I drove around to survey the damage close to our neighborhood. Lines at gas stations were outrageous, but not just in a scramble for gasoline. People were desperate for ice to preserve their foods because Walmart and other grocery stores were closed due to power loss or damage, and they had no way to access necessities. Many other areas remained flooded, and there was extensive damage to many buildings. Trees had fallen and knocked over power lines completely, and many uprooted trees completely collapsed numerous rooftops. Due to the millions without power in the Houston and Galveston area, we realized that we would not have power for at least a week and a half. My dad booked us a one-bedroom hotel in one of the few hotels open, and that would be our home for the next 2 weeks. My school was closed for a week, as it too was without power, and the entire district had areas of flooding. Our meals for the next 2 weeks without power consisted of sandwiches and snack foods like pretzels or canned soups, because grocery shopping was inaccessible. Once power lines began to be rebuilt and gas stations became up and running, lines for gas and ice grew even longer as everyone scrambled for the few places that were open. As our city recovered, schools and grocery stores began to open and life slowly turned back to normal. Living through Ike was an experience I'll never forget, and I feel very fortunate that my family and I were safe in our home despite the fact that we did not evacuate. Though it was difficult, it taught me a lot about emergency preparation, and it definitely taught me that when a disaster is about to strike, you can never be too prepared.